Hi guys, in today's lesson, I'm starting a topic that's called quadratic functions, and it is part of O-level Addmath and AS level math. So the first thing you need to know is what are quadratic equations? So quadratic equations are equations with maximum power of 2, like you can see here. When you try to solve these equations, you get either two solution, one solution, or no solution. And when you draw it on the graph, it's going to result in maximum curve or minimum curve. Now, what are the methods of solving quadratic equations? The first method is factorization. In other words, you can call it middle term breaking. So I'm going to explain you these three steps by solving these four examples. Let's begin. So the first step of factorization is you multiply the coefficient of x squared with the constant. So it's going to be 2 threes is what? 6. Now what are the factors of 6? List them down. 1 into 6 is 6. 2 into 3 is 6. By using these factors, we need to make the middle term. So if I use 6 and 1, if I subtract 6 and 1, will it end up as 5? Yes. If I add 2 and 3, will it end up as 5? So can I use both the factors? No, you can't use both the factors. The game is dependent on this sign. What's the sign here? Positive. So you need to use the factors that add up and make 5. So I'm going to use 2 and 3. Now, how will I use 2 and 3? It's going to be 2x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. Take 2x common, x plus 1. Take plus 3 common, x plus 1. And it's going to be 2x plus 3, x plus 1, which is going to be 2x plus 3 is equal to 0 and x equal to minus 3 upon 2. And here it's going to be x plus 1 equal to 0 and my value of x is minus 1. Got this? Now let's do the other example. 2 threes is what? 6. I have done it here. What are the factors of 6? 1 6 2 3. But the sign before the constant is minus. We need to use those factors which are subtracted and makes 5. So I'm going to use 6 and 1 because they are subtracted and makes 5. So it's going to be 2x squared plus 6x minus x minus 3. Got this? Take 2x common, x plus 3. Take minus 1 common, x plus 3. It's going to be 2x minus 1, x plus 3 is equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 is equal to 0, x plus 3 is equal to 0. So my values of x are minus 3 and 1 upon 2. Got this? Now, let's do two more examples. Okay, now the question is this. 2 threes is what? 6. What are the factors of 6? 1 6 is 6 and 2 3 is 6. Now, I gave you this question because many of you get confused because of this minus sign. This minus sign doesn't matter to you at the start. The sign before the constant matter. What's that sign? Plus. So you need to use factors that are added up and make 5. So I'm going to use 2 and 3. Now you'll use 2 and 3 in a way that it become minus 5. So how will I use it? 2x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. Take 2x common, x minus 1, take minus 3 common, x minus 1. Got this? So it's going to be 2x minus 3, x minus 1. So now 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, x is equal to 3 upon 2. And here it's going to be x is equal to 1. Got this? One last example. 2 threes is what? 6. What are the factors of 6? 1 6 is 6, 2 threes is 6. We need to make 5. But the sign before the constant is minus, which means use those factors which are subtracted and makes 5. So I'm going to use 6 and 1. So let's use that. 2x squared. Now we need to use 6 and 1 in a way that it become minus 5. So I'm going to write minus 6x plus x minus 3 is equal to 0. Take 2x common, x minus 3, take plus 1 common, x minus 3. And it's going to be 2x plus 1, x minus 3 is equal to 0. So it's going to be 2x plus 1 equal to 0. X value is minus 1 upon 2. And here it's 3. So guys, these 4 examples clears your confusions about middle term breaking thoroughly. The sign before the constant matters a lot. If it's plus, use those factors that are added to make the middle term. If it's minus, use those factors that are subtracted to make middle term. I hope factorization is clear to you. Now let's move to the quadratic formula. Guys, what's my quadratic formula? This. Okay. So now the number written with x squared is 8. So that means my a is 2. The number written with x is b. That x is b. Yeah. That means b is 5. And the number that's constant is c. Let's plug it into the formula. Minus 5 plus minus 5 square minus 4 into 2 into 3 divide by 2 into 2. Got this? So it's going to be minus 5 plus minus 25 minus 4 2s is 8, 8 3s is 24. 25 minus 24 divided by 4. It's going to be minus 5 plus minus under root 1 upon 4. Minus 5 plus 1 upon 4 and minus 5 minus 1 upon 4. So my final answer will be negative 1 in this case, and in this case minus 6 upon 4, that's negative 3 upon 2. Now let's go back to the factorization. Did I get the same answer? Yes. So I hope you are clear with factorization and the quadratic formula. Now let's shift to the third method. That's what? Completing the square method. Let's begin. In order to solve the completing the square method, you should know these two identities. A plus b whole square is what? A square plus 2ab plus b square. And a minus b whole square is what? A square minus 2ab plus b square. So let's begin. If the examiner gives you the form of the completing the square method, just expand that and compare. But if no form is given to you, you can use the standard form, that's this. So let's use this. Ax plus h whole square plus k. Let's expand. A x square plus 2hx plus h square plus k. So it's going to be ax square plus 2ahx plus ah square plus k. Now compare. What's written with x square? Here it's a and here it's what? Minus 2. So can I say that a is equal to negative 2? Now, what's written with x? 2ah, and here it's 16. Do I know the value of a? Yes, minus 2. So my answer of h will be 16 upon minus 4. That's negative 4. Got this? What's written without x? Ah square plus k is equal to 18. What's a? Minus 2 minus 4 square plus k is equal to 18. So my value of k will be minus 2 into 16 makes what? Minus 32. So it's going to be 18 plus 32. That's what? 50. Now I'm going to write minus 2 x minus 4 whole square plus 50. Got this, guys? That's how you convert to the completing the square form. Let's practice two more questions of this. Now, examiner has given us the form. So let's use this form. A x minus b whole square minus c. Let's expand. X square minus 2bx plus b square plus minus c. So it's going to be ax square minus 2abx plus ab square minus c is equal to 2x square minus 12x plus 7. What's written with x square here? A. And here it's 2. So can I say that a is equal to 2? What's written with x? Minus 2ab. And here it's minus 12. So minus minus cancel out. I know that a is 2. So my answer of b will be 12 upon 4. That's going to be 3. Got this? Now, what's written without x? ab square minus c. And here it's 7. Yes or no? So my value of a is 2. My value of b is 3 is equal to 7. 2 nines is 18. So it's going to be 7 minus 18. That's going to be minus 11. I can cancel minus out. C is equal to 11. So what's my final answer? It's going to be 2x minus 3 whole square minus 11. Got this? Let's practice one more example. So this is the question given to us. Let's expand. A minus x square minus 2bx plus b square, right? Now it's going to become a minus x square plus 2bx minus b square. Here, is it minus x square? Yes. And here also it's minus x square. Just ignore this. Okay, so what's written with x? 2b. And here, what's written with x? 6. Can I say that b is equal to 3? Now, what's written without x? A minus b square. And here, there is nothing without us. That means it's 0. Do I know the value of b? Yes, sir, it's 3. So my value of a will become 9. So my answer will be 9 minus x minus 3 whole square. So far, what are we clear with? We started this chapter with what are quadratic equations. Then I discussed methods of solving quadratic equations, in which the first method was factorization. I showed you 4 examples of it to clear all the confusions students can get into. Then I explained you quadratic formula, and then I taught you completing the square form. If the question has given their form, you'll expand that. But if the question has not given their form, just use this standard form. Got this? Now, once we are clear with the completing the square form, we should know the turning point. The turning point after the completing the square form is minus h comma k. And if my A is positive, that means the turning point is minimum. And if A is negative, that means the turning point is negative. Let me show you here. Ax squared. If A is positive, that means it's a minimum curve. And if A is negative, that means it's a maximum curve. You can see by this, or you can also take this A once it in the completing the square from this A. If this A is positive, that means it's a minimum curve. And if it's negative, that means it's a maximum. Let's do a few examples here. Now, is this 5 positive or negative? Said it's positive. So it's going to be minimum curve. Is this minus 2 positive or negative? Negative. It's going to be maximum curve. Here, minus 3. Is this positive or negative? Negative. So maximum. And here, is this 4 positive or negative? Positive. Minimum. Now my turning point is minus h comma k. So this is h and this is k. So here, what's h? Plus 3. So minus h will be minus 3, comma, this is k, 4. Do you get this? Here, my turning point will be, if it's minus 3, minus h will become plus 3. But k will stay the same. Do you get this? Here, it's minus 2. It will become positive 2, but y will stay the same. Got this? Here, the turning point is minus h comma k. So h here is plus 2. It's going to be minus 2 and y will stay the same. So this was the first type of question of turning point. Now let's move to the next type of question. Here, is this 4 positive or negative? Said it's positive. So it's going to be minimum. Is this minus 8 negative, positive? Negative. That means maximum. If this minus 3 positive, negative. Said negative. That means maximum. And is this 4 positive or negative? Positive. That means minimum. Now many students make this mistake. They write the turning point 4 comma 4. This is wrong. The turning point is minus h comma k in the case when there is no coefficient with x, right? When there is no coefficient with x. But here there is coefficient with x. In this case, my advice to you, just equate this bracket to 0. So 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. What's x? 4 upon 2, that's 2. So my x value is 2 and y stays the same. Got this? Now see, is there any coefficient with x? Yes. Just equate the bracket to 0. So what's my x? 3 upon 3, that's 1. So x is 1 and y will stay the same. Do you get this? Now comes the third one. Here, equate this to 0. X is equal to 3 upon 2. So my turning point will be 3 upon 2 and y will stay the same. Do you get this? Here, is there any coefficient with x? Yes. The 4x minus 16 is equal to 0. So my value of x is what? 16 upon 4, that's what? 4. And y will stay the same. Do you get this? So if there is no coefficient with x, what's my turning point? Minus h comma k. But if there is coefficient with x, just equate this bracket to 0 and you're going to get the x value. But y will stay the same. Do you get this? Why are we equating it to 0? Because we are taking 2 common. And why we are taking 2 common here? because we need to make the coefficient of x1. So in simple ways, just equate to 0 and get the x directly. Got this? Now comes the third case of turning point. Let's suppose I'm giving you the question which asks me for the turning point directly. Like it says, find the turning point and 1 mark question. And converting this entire thing to the completing the square method will be too much of the work. So what's the shortcut of finding a turning point directly from a quadratic equation? Minus b upon 2a. How do you get x is equal to minus b upon 2a? What's b? 4. So it's going to be minus 4, 2 into 2. That makes minus 4 upon 4. That's negative 1. Once I get x as negative 1, plug it into the equation. So guys, my answer will be 2 minus 4, that's minus 2 minus 3 minus 5. So what's my turning point? Minus 1 minus 5. Do you get this? Here, it's going to be minus b upon 2a. That's going to be minus 12 upon 2 into 4. That makes 12 upon 8. Got this? So it's going to be 3 upon 2. Let's plug in here. 3 upon 2 square minus 12, 3 upon 2 plus 3. It's going to be 4, 9 upon 4. I can cancel this out. I can cancel this out. 9 minus 18 plus 3. That's going to be minus 9 plus 3 minus 6. Got this? So my turning point will be 3 upon 2 comma minus 6. Do you get this? So this was the third case of finding turning point. Now comes one last thing. The first part was to convert to completing the square form, which I've already done it for you. Now I need to find out the greatest value, and this thing has been reciprocated. So guys, if I was supposed to find out the turning point of this, what it would have been 1 upon 4 comma 17 upon 4. But now it's reciprocated. In that case, x would stay the same, but y will become reciprocated. Do you get this? And this was the minimum curve. When it's reciprocated, it's going to become maximum curve. So that's why 4 upon 1 upon 4 comma 4 upon 17 will be the maximum value. Got this? This was all about the turning point. Now let's proceed to line of symmetry. All parabolas are symmetrical in nature. That is the why. That is, they possess a line of symmetry. Line of symmetry is a line that divides a curve into two equal halves, as you can see here and here. So guys, during your childhood, you have been told what's the equation of vertical line. Let's suppose 3. So vertical line equation will be x equal to 3. Let's suppose there is line is minus 2. So the equation will be x is equal to minus 2. The equation of a line of symmetry is always the x coordinate of a turning point because it passes through the turning point. So here my equation will be x is equal to minus h. Got this? Now let me do few questions for you. You're supposed to write down the line of symmetry equation. What's my turning point? 3 comma 4. 3 is positive, that means minimum, which means the graph will look somewhat like this. And line of symmetry will pass the turning point. So my equation of line of symmetry will be x is equal to 3. Here, what's my turning point? It's maximum, 2 comma 8. So the graph will look somewhat like this. And the line of symmetry will pass from here. So my equation of line of symmetry will be x is equal to 2. Now I'm going to show you the question where majority students got confused. Let's do that. So here, this is the question given to us. The first part says, write it in this form, which I've already done. Now it's a minimum curve and with the turning point 3 comma minus 5, which will lie somewhat here. Okay, so the graph will go like this, 3 minus 5. Do you get this? So the other half of the graph will go like this. If it's starting from 0 and line of symmetry is at what? X equal to 3. That means it's going to end at 6. Now it says state the value of A for which graph has line of symmetry. They are not asking you for the equation of line of symmetry. If the question would have asked for the equation of line of symmetry, it would have been x is equal to 3. They are asking you for the value of A. So if the graph is starting from 0 and the turning point is till 3, so the other half of the graph will be till what? 6. So my value of A will be 6. Got this? They are not asking you for line of symmetry. They are telling you that it has line of symmetry. One last part of this lesson is sketching a graph. So here are the two ideal cases of sketching a graph. The first case that you can easily get the turning point. As you can see the completing the square method here. What's my turning point? 1 comma minus 16. Got this? Now let's find y-intercept. At y-intercept, x is 0. Let's plug in x as 0. So what's my answer of y? Minus 15. Now let's find x-intercept. At x-intercept, y is 0. Now let's plug in y as 0. It's going to be x squared minus 5x plus 3x minus 15. Take x common, x minus 5. Take plus 3 common, x minus 5. X plus 3, x minus 5. So my one value of x is 5 and my other value of x is minus 3. Now, how will I solve this? How will I draw the graph? Now see, first of all, you need to sketch, not draw. So what's my turning point? 1 and minus 16. There is nothing written here that means 1. 1 is positive, which means it's a minimum curve. So 1 comma minus 16 will lie somewhat here. My y-intercept was minus 15. That's going to lie somewhat here. My x-intercept were minus 3 and 5. So now let's sketch the graph. Here we go and here we go. Do you get this? Now let's do one more example with maximum curve. So my turning point here is 3 comma 9 and since there is minus that means maximum. Now how will I get y-intercept? Let's plug in x as 0. So if I plug in x as 0, y is what? 0. Now let's plug in y as 0 and get x-intercept. Take x common, 6 minus x. One x is 0 and the other one is 6. Do you get this? Now I have the turning point, that's what? 3 comma 9. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. 3 comma 9, that's going to be somewhat here. My x-intercept were 0 and 6. So my graph will go somewhat like this. Do you get this? Now, when you are given with y-intercept and turning point only. So what's my turning point? 2 comma 4. Let's find y-intercept. At y-intercept, x is 0. Let's plug in x as 0. So 3 fours is what? 12. 12 plus 4 is what? 16. So I got y-intercept as 16. Now see, 5, 10, 15, 16. Okay. And my turning point is 2 comma 4. 1, 2. That's going to be, just make half the graph. Now, line of symmetry will be at this point, yes or no? So if it's 0 till 2, where will be other half? Till 4. So now complete the graph. Do you get this? Let's do one more example. What's my turning point? 2 comma 3. It's minus, which means it's maximum. So let's mark this point first. 2 comma 3. That's going to be here. Now let's find out y-intercept. At y-intercept, x is 0. Let's plug in that. So guys, my answer will be minus 16 plus 3. That's what? Minus 13. So minus 13 will lie minus 5, minus 10, minus 15. Minus 13 will lie somewhat here. Let's make half the graph. Got this? So if the half is still 2, the other half will be 3 and 4. 2 units from here, 2 units from here. So it's going to be completed at this point. Do you get this? So this was all about the lesson 1 of quadratic function, in which we learned methods of solving quadratic equations, the turning point 4 cases, and we learned line of symmetry equation, and the last thing we learned how to sketch a graph. That's it for today. In next lesson, I'll be covering the remaining part of the topic. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.